Man, you never know what happens from day to day in the video game industry. It is always surprising. And today we have some huge news that Electronic Arts EA, the big time publisher, is buying independent developer Titanfall, who makes Respawn, for over $400 million. Huge news. And a part of me wonders why, hey, Phil Spencer just talked about buying new studios, and yet they let one slip away that would have fit in perfectly. Maybe there's other reasons for that. So we're going to talk about all that stuff right now. So strap it in. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Big news. EA is in the news again. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time we really talked about EA wasn't for buying a new studio or doing something great or amazing. It was for basically shutting down a studio they owned. Visceral Games, the makers of Dead Space. You guys recall that? They just shut down Visceral a few weeks ago. People were upset. People were talking about the death of single player. They were making a Star Wars game with Uncharted creator Amy Hennig, and people were so disappointed that that game didn't come to fruition. And then today, EA's buying another developer, Titanfall. So I'm sure the developers of Visceral are like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Right? And, I mean, Titanfall, great game. The Respawn is a great developer. I can't fault EA for wanting to fully acquire them. They make fantastic games. Titanfall 1, great multiplayer game. Kind of revolutionized a lot of the multiplayer. A lot of games, the Call of Duties afterwards, copied Titanfall's movement mechanics and things like that. Titanfall 2 had one of the best single-player campaigns. It was a great game. And they obviously felt they were worth keeping because South Korean publisher Nexon put in a bid to buy them, and EA matched the bid and went above it to keep them. Now, it's because basically they are making a Star Wars game. EA has that deal with Disney, and Respawn is making a Star Wars game for them. So maybe EA thought they had to, otherwise that game might have been lost. And Jason Schreier talks about in the article that he's seen the contract. And not only does contract for buying the studio include Metacritic bonuses if you reach a certain amount, but also there is a Star Wars game coming, and there's also Titanfall 3 coming. So you can look forward to that, both of those games probably in the next few years. But my initial thought when I saw this went to Phil Spencer in his recent comments the other day that we talked about on the channel, that he wanted to build new studios or acquire existing studios to grow and make more franchises for Xbox. And in my opinion, Respawn would have been a perfect developer to bring into the Microsoft fold, the Xbox family, because they make first-person shooters. Well, they make great games, period, but their expertise is in shooters, which is what the Xbox audience seems to really enjoy. You know, they could have put out a campaign with great multiplayer, put in their cards that Microsoft so loves their cards, right? Their loot boxes and stuff. And you could have had a new franchise. Titanfall could have been another franchise for Xbox. I mean, the first one was originally an Xbox exclusive. The second one was multi-platform. So it was like, this would have been a perfect studio to buy. But then as I was doing some digging, researching the story, I did see this. Patrick Klepek, who is a journalist from, I think on Waypoint now, used to be with Giant Bomb, he tweeted out that Microsoft should have bought Respawn, and I retweeted, of course, because I felt the same, but Jason said it wouldn't have happened because EA had first right of refusal on all acquisition offers, which basically means, you know, someone comes in there with an offer, and they have the right to match it, right? So Nexon came in there with an offer of X amount of money. EA decided to match it and own the studio. So if Microsoft came in there and thrown a number at them, EA could have matched it, right? So the only way you would have bought Respawn was if you grossly overpaid. So if Microsoft grossly overpaid for them, you know, maybe they would have to pay like $700 or $800 million. And at that point, is it really worth it? I don't know. But anyways, it sounds like it was never in the cards to begin with because EA had, you know, first right of refusal. Now, I'm happy that we're going to be getting a Titanfall 3 because I do love Titanfall, and I'm happy we're going to see a Star Wars game from them because they are great developers. But at the same time, I can't but help feel sad because I think this is the beginning of the end for Respawn. RIP. I mean, look at EA's acquisition history. They shut down studios, and if they don't shut down studios, they just drain the hope out of those studios. BioWare is not the same studio that made Knights of the Old Republic and Mass Effect. It's a shell of itself. You can go and look at the list. Visceral, Westwood, a whole bunch of studios that EA's shut down over the course of the years. And I've already seen the memes pop up where, Respawn's the next on the chopping block. And if their game doesn't perform well, maybe it happens. But I don't know, man. Like, you guys recall last year when they put out Titanfall 2 in October, right? The week after Battlefield 1 and the week before Call of Duty. I said this was absolutely asinine to do that. And I had this insane conspiracy theory that EA wanted to do that to drive the value of Respawn down, to hurt the sales of the game so that they could eventually go and pick up Respawn, a developer, a great developer at a low cost. It was just nothing like confirmed on a fact. It was just basically speculation because I just didn't understand at the time why you were competing with your own game. Like, Battlefield 1 was the week before. It was a juggernaut. Titanfall 2 is the week after. And then you have Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I was like, people are just going to skip on Titanfall. It didn't make any sense to me. And then fast forward a year later, and now they have bought the developer themselves. So I'm not saying I was right. Obviously, that was just a speculation filled on my part. And I still don't even really believe it, but it's kind of weird how it ended up being true. They did buy Respawn a year later. And it is also very interesting that the creators of Respawn, Vince Zampella, they used to work for Activision. You remember? They were the ones who built Infinity Ward and started Call of Duty. They left Activision to be out on their own, to make their own IP, to make a lot of money, similar to Bungie and Microsoft. And before you know it, they're bought by EA. Back with EA, because I believe before then they were making Medal of Honor games for EA. So now they're back with EA again. It's so weird how all this stuff happens in the video game industry. I don't really know how to explain it. But I mean, what do you guys think about all this? Are you cool with EA buying Respawn? Does this give you faith that Respawn's going to continue to put out the quality-filled content that you've come to to like? Or are you a little bit worried now? Because, like me, the clock is ticking, right? I'm thinking tick-tock, tick-tock. The Grim Reaper's coming for Respawn now. It may not be next year, it may not be 2 years from now, it may not even be 5, but at some point, I expect an article on Kotaku in the next few years that EA shutters down Titanfall 3 developer Respawn. I mean, it's in their history. They've done it. I mean, are you guys a little bit worried about that? Like I am, because I am extremely worried about that. I don't want to see great game developers get shut down, because we've seen too many of that recently. Visceral Games shut down. Runic Games shut down. Even Telltale Games, they just let go of 90 people. I hate seeing people lose their jobs over this stuff. It's disheartening. I want to see the video game industry grow and get better, but something about EA just doesn't. I just don't trust them to do right by Respawn. Right now that they own them, I just don't trust them. I honestly expect the studio to get shut down in 5 to 6 years. Or the people who made Respawn what it was to leave and go form another studio. I mean, I know that's kind of crappy to say, but that's what I expected. And I know Microsoft really didn't have a chance unless they completely overpaid, and Microsoft's not looking to completely overpay for an independent developer. So this one was probably not on the cards, but I still feel like Respawn would have been a fantastic acquisition at that price for Microsoft, but probably not the price it would have taken for EA not to counter the offer. Microsoft probably would have go way above the acquisition marker. But what a day. The Xbox One X is out 2 days ago. You have Ubisoft CEOs talking about next gen, and here we have EA buying one of the biggest independent developers out there, Respawn, so they can secure Titanfall 3 as well as their next Star Wars game in development. Big things happening, and I wonder how this is going to impact future events, you know? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Hit the notification bell so you're always notified when I drop new videos. Share this link out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere so people can check it out. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.